Okay, next project. This is the Halcyon Models 1/9 scale Judge Death model from the Judge Dredd range. You saw the Judge Dredd model previously on the channel, and I still have the Judge Anderson, which is the third in the series. But we're going to be working on Judge Death today, and there's the instruction book right there. Vinyl model kit. This one a little bit different than the first one I got when I got the Judge Dredd kit. The previous owner had did a little bit of painting on it and had removed all of the vinyl gates. So you're going to see how I do that in this video. There's Judge Death right there with his big teeth. Yeah, pretty straightforward model. Real easy to assemble. You get the same base that you get with the Judge Dredd and Judge Anderson kits in this one. Would have been nice if they had a base that kind of like conformed more to Judge Death, but I'm going to make some changes on that one. And of course all the pieces there. And you can see those vinyl gates on the bottom of the pieces there. And these are hard at this time. Okay, yeah, they're not soft vinyl, but they will be when you heat it up. There's his footsies. And one of the big differences between vinyl kits and just plastic injection kits, oh, yep, look, he's got fillings too. I'm going to try and recreate those. But yeah, the differences are that you basically use heat to soften up the vinyl, and I'm using a hairdryer here. You can always use hot water as well. But yep, look at those spindly legs. They came really close together, so I'm just heating them up, separating them a little bit, and then I think I took a plastic bottle to lay it on there to conform to that distance between the legs. All right, see when it's heated up there, it cuts real easily through there, and then that gets cleaned up later on. And just doing the same thing with all the pieces there. Some are a little bit more intricate than others, which eventually meant going back and doing more cleanup with a fresh blade and some files and some Dremels. This pterodactyl pauldron here, this was, I actually had this thing painted up ready to go, and I still saw a lot of opportunities to clean it up a little bit more, so I went ahead and did that after the fact. But the finished product, I don't show that going back, but the finished product is what I had. Okay, and then you've got these arms, which you actually have to cut out those holes in the body for, and they don't fit that well, so there will be some puttying going on, and of course there are some seam lines there. Now these arms, they're made from more of a rubber than a vinyl. They bend very easily, so what I ended up doing later on during the painting phase, I hit the whole thing with an adhesion promoter to make sure the paint sticks to it. And I'm just getting some kicker or accelerator in there to bond it quicker. Okay, nice pose there. Coming along. At that point in time, I have the his badge just blue tacked onto him because I just wanted to see what it was going to look like. And for filling in those gaps, I just took some green stuff, made a little worm of it, and put it in between the gaps on his arm and shoulders. You're not going to see a whole lot of that with the pauldrons on there, but you will see some of it, so I want to make sure it was pretty smooth. And I'm just shaping this with some water and these silicone sculpting tools. And my fingers. There you go. You can see a little bit of it that's going to show through, but the paint should cover that up. Alright, finding more seams on these arms here. And there are a couple that I end up missing, but I go back after it's painted, as you could always see them after it's painted, and then go ahead and take care of that and repaint. Next is cleaning up the helmet here. There's a prominent seam line on the top of the head, so I just want to smooth that out with some sanding sponges. There's that adhesion promoter, and right there it says vinyl. So we're going to go ahead and take that outside. It was a cool day, so I had to wait for the can to warm up in the house. And right after that, time for the Stynylrez Black Primer. And I want to thank Danny from Easy8 Online Painting Club. Gave me this great idea to make some painting sheets so I could protect my mat while I'm airbrushing on it. It's got the logo on there, and yeah, just a little bit of fun. So, and there's the whole kit right there, primed up. And then we're going to start with some color, some scale 75 Huldra Blue. This is just going to tint the outside of it. I didn't want like a really thick coat of it, so I went pretty thin. I wanted a lot of desaturated color on this one, unlike the Judge Dredd model. And then we're going to hit that base with some Vallejo Monocolor Oily Steel. That's going to be the start of the rusting process there. All right, yellow on black doesn't work well until the second or third coat. That's about 3 coats in right there. You can still see a little bit of that black coming through on that badge, but successive airbrushing, and we'll get that taken care of. And I missed it, but the color here is Vallejo Monocolor Yellow Ochre. There's a card up there, but I didn't say it early, so I'm only human. Okay, coming together with the colors on there. And then we're going to work on the elbow pads here soon. And since they're already attached to the model, I tried to airbrush it, but it was starting to get a little sloppy, so I ended up going in with the brush and just did successive coats of that yellow ochre. And then later on, I end up cleaning up the bluish black areas with that Huldra Blue. Alright, here's the fun part with the base, starting with Citadel's Agrellan Earth. This is a crackle paint. The thicker you put on, the larger the cracks are, so I end up going in, giving it a good coat in certain areas, and then after that's dry, I put a second coat on the larger areas there. Some of these didn't even use the brush end, just use the end of the brush, and then just had to wait for that to dry up. But it's a really cool effect. There's adding a little bit more because I want that really cracked, rusty look to it. Get some peeling metal on there. And while that's drying, we're going to work on the head. Some Citadel Rakarth Flesh. This is a good base color for any, like, either undead or dead skin. Start off with this, and then you use some successive washes and dry brushes. This is what I use for my Poxwalkers in Warhammer 40,000. But definitely watered down so it flows easier. At this point, I'm not too worried about getting it on the inside of the mouth. It's going to all get painted over anyway. We're going to get the hands as well. And I don't believe I have footage of painting the feet, but it's okay. Next is Vallejo Wash Light Rust, just stippling this on in certain areas, and then going in and refining it with the brush on others, mainly in between crevices. Okay, then with the airbrush, Citadel Rhinox Hide, I'm going to start coloring it in so you get away from that mud color and into the actual darker rust. There we go. And we're going to get the sides of the base as well. I just want to cover up that real light brown color from the Agrellan Earth. Okay, next in the recipe, Citadel Scrag Brown. Just going to go over the inside area of the Rhinox hide that I just put down. Just keep showing those layers that are being added. And looking back now as I do the voiceover, I really wish I would have taken either a Dremel or a blade and just kind of chopped up a little bit of detail there, just to give that decayed look. But I thought of it too late. That's okay. Okay, now for the lightest color, it's going to be Citadel's Fire Dragon Bright. And I'm just going to hit very little bit in the centers of each one, just for that contrast in there. And you can see the cracks there. We're going to address a couple of those here in a little bit, right after we get some of the base, the sides of the base. Looking good. Yeah, I still wish they would have had a separate base for Judge Death. And maybe something based off of his badge, but it's all good. Using the same color that Fire Dragon Bright, I'm just hitting the tops of the cracks on, not all of them, but just a few, just to let them stand out a little bit. There we go, looking good. And later on I do use some Dirty Down Rust, but I actually don't have a card for it up there. Alright, working on the helmet. Citadel's Abaddon Black. And unlike Judge Dredd's, I'm going to try and make his a little dustier and dirtier towards the end. And get between that gate that covers up his, or that visor gate. Okay, Citadel Morghast Bone for the final highlight color of all the ivory that's on his outfit there. Gonna hit that on that. I just did that pterodactyl pauldron there, his belt, his badge, his pads, anything with that yellowish, bony tan color. Okay, the legs even look better now. Look at that. Using Silly Putty as a masking material. Just going in around those knee pads there, getting some Silly Putty, and gonna hit that with the same Morghast Bone. And you can see that the paint was a little too thin in that spot, but I go back there with a dry brush and clean that up later. Yep, use Silly Putty for this. It looks hilarious too. And then taking it off, and it's a good masking material. I really didn't want to tape up his legs, so worked just as well. And of course there's going to be some cleanup later, but that's the general effect right there. And then mash it all together and put it back in the little red plastic egg. Did the same thing on his arms. And this is pretty well sped up because I had a lot of work on this model. Alright, same color as the Judge Dredd model's helmet. Citadel Corn Red. And then we're going to shade a little bit of that with some Seraphim Sepia from Citadel Shades. And for the most part, every lightly painted area on this figure is going to get that Seraphim Sepia. The pads, the ivory, anything ivory colored, and then obviously his skin. Okay, so after that's dry, we've got Citadel's Athonian Camo Shade. Another wash, or shade rather. This is one of my favorites. You put those two together and you've got some really, really nice looking dead flesh. Okay, Cadian Flesh Tone for the inside parts of the mouth. And that's going to get the tongue as well. And then Citadel Iron Warriors for the visor gate. And I'm just trying to be careful so I don't get inside with the black. Alright, Reikland Flesh Shade for the inside of the mouth. Didn't go right for the Karaberg Crimson right away. I wanted to get the Reikland Flesh Shade first. And I think this is actually their gloss formula. All right, back to the Morgas brown, or bone rather. I keep on wanting to say Morgas brown. Morgas bone to get some final highlights. And hit it with the dry brush. Very sped up. And blurry at times, sorry about that. But you get the idea. There we go. Got some depth in there, and yes, I do clean up that leg. So you can see the before and after there. Then we're going to hit the belt as well, and pretty much anything with that ivory color. And those little points on that belt, those are pretty sharp. Alright, I want a little bit lighter for the badge and for the final highlights, so I use Citadel's Ushabti bone. Just for a final highlight. Alright, there's the Caribou Crimson, just going in on the inside of the mouth, gums, the back of the throat, the inside and outside of the cheeks. Very cool. Okay, back to the Ushabti bone. This time it's for the teeth. And this is sped up. I was really taking my time on those teeth. Alright, back to the Vallejo Light Rust Wash. Just getting a little bit on the visor. I didn't want to make it too rusty. Yeah, simply just want to add a little bit of color to it. Nice. And then I was looking at it, I was like, well, we could put a little bit more rust on there. Well, if you're liking this so far, yeah, please hit that thumbs up. Show me that you care. Yeah, this is the second in the Judge Dredd series that I'm painting up, or building and painting. Judge Anderson's gonna be interesting. It's a very good sculpt. I'm gonna be pulling out all the stops, doing some beauty makeup on there too. So we'll see how she turns out. That'll probably be sometime later this year. Okay, that was Bugman's Glow, hitting that, and then, of course, with the shading on the face, we did the Seraphim Sepia. Now we're going to the Athonian Camo shade. And yes, I love the final result of the face. Okay, a little bit of Morgas bone. See, I said it right that time. Just as a highlight on that skin. There we go. Just pulling up some of the highlights. Alright, now this is a little bit of a different technique than I did on Judge Dredd's helmet. I'm using Pallid Witch Flesh from Citadel here. Using a sponge, and I'm hitting it, just stippling it with the sponge and then pulling away. Just give it some scratches. So I want to give it a like a dusty and scratchy type look to it. Kind of fit the character a little bit more. Alright, then for final assembly, using the super glue gel. I always like to use the gel for vinyl models. There we go. Making sure he's in place there. Then hitting those teeth with some Vallejo model color off-white. Yeah, the teeth were looking a little dull, so I want to make them a little prominent. Looking good? I think so. Okay, complete with the Out of This World Models and Mini sticker. Look at that. Attaching him to his base. I had some brass rod that I poked through, and I have held in place with some steel stick from JB Weld. And there it is right there. And all those little scratches are going to get taken care of with either Dirty Down Rust or some other products I use here eventually. But yeah, he was not the easiest to get to his base, get onto the base. All right, the Tamiya panel line accent, just using the black on this one. Just want to separate the teeth and then show those fillings in there. I love it. Well, they look like fillings on the package, so I figured I'd try and emulate that. But yeah, such a fun kit, and yeah, he's almost done. Alright, this is Huge Miniatures Orange Rust Weathering Powder. Just adding a little bit more detail to the rust. Underneath that you can see a little bit of Dirty Down that I used. Alright, Dirty Down snot. I wanted to get a little bit of saliva coming from the sides of his mouth. And that gets cleaned up a little bit. Going to turn that the other way to get the other side. And yep, look at that. Just kind of bink, pull that right off. I was thinking about doing it on just one side, but you know what? Why not? I've got the stuff, might as well use it. There we go. Looking good, looking good. And looking good from that angle too. Now this technique coming up here, this is an old technique. Back in the 80s when I was painting and building models, friends and I found out this little trick where you put a little glue on your fingers and pull it apart and it looks like spider webs. So of course I'm gonna put on Judge Death. I don't know how safe this is, so I'd say don't do it, or do it under supervision, and you're still gonna have to clean off your fingers. But I'm still here, and I did this over 30 years ago as a kid, so it looks so cool. Tell me in the comments if you've ever done this. I can distinctively remember doing it on skeleton miniatures. That's so, yeah, that's, like I said, I don't know how safe it is, but yeah, we had a great time doing it years ago. But we're almost done here now, so yeah, if you liked the video, give it a like. If you're not subscribed, please consider it. I would greatly appreciate it, and we will see you in the next one. Take care. Thanks for watching. Hey, if you liked the video, check out the playlist on the left, subscribe on the right, and again, thank you very much for watching. We'll see you in the next one.